Hello everyone and welcome to Building the Dream Life with Ray. My name is Ray and today we're going to be talking about how to become the CEO of your life and create goals that actually work for you. And so this video is right on time for me because spring literally starts next week, which is when I'm choosing to actually start my new year and set goals and really take them into action. And so I'm going to be referencing my Stylogy notebook in this video because this is where I wrote down all of my notes and my goals that I'll be going through with you all. So I'm considering this my dream girl journal. I literally labeled it as such on the first page. And then after that, I've started already to take notes about my dream life. And so the notes we're going to be referencing today start here. And I decided that I would do this exercise and then this video because when I was looking through my 2025 junk journal, yes, she's thick, I was realizing that I had never really gotten concrete goals written out for 2026. And here we are in March about to enter quarter two. And I was like, yes, that's a problem. So I went back and I noticed that while I had set intentions for 2026, what qualities I want to bring into 2026, I talk about my desires for 2026, as seen here, and just a bunch of stuff like that. But like I had no real goals and I was like, yeah, okay, well that's why I'm so confused. So anyways, I found a Lena Lifts video that talked about how to create the dream life, and although it was from about a year or so ago, videos never stop being relevant, especially a video like that. So I went through and I took notes on the journal questions that she asked, and I'm going to share a little bit of my responses with you all so that you can get some ideas, see where I'm at, but then also it'll make more sense when we get to the second half of the video. So the first question she asked is, in an ideal world, what does my dream life look like to me? And so I said my dream life consists of a life that is fully free, like where I have time freedom, money freedom, like just this freedom to travel whenever I want, freedom to do whatever I want. It's a life where I live on my own terms, where I'm able to be an active and present mother, a supportive and understanding wife to my husband, and someone who still has a great personal life with an even greater self-life. And so even though I am a mother, I am not a wife, and so this is where some of that manifestation came in. And so that was question number one. Question number two was, who am I? And in this case, it's referring to my dream self. And so she's someone who is an academic weapon. She's strong, she's passionate, she's an amazing, present, and active mother, self-assured, authentic, a generational curse breaker, and self-fulfilled. Question number three was, what does my day-to-day look like? And I basically stated that my day-to-day consists of 45 minutes of movement, journaling, creating some sort of content, eating whole foods, 10K steps a day, learning something new, self-care, being a mom, educating, and facilitating in some sort of way. Now, the great thing about this is that I do most of these things on a daily basis as is, because I am semi-intentional with my current daily routine. It's not like I'm just out here moving willy-nilly. I just really wanted to be more specific about it. Question four was, who is my friend? So I just went through and talked about the characteristics of that. And number five is, what is my career? So my career is being the change that I want to see in the world. It's being a life coach. It's being someone who promotes mental wellness and overall well-being. And then something that I took from the video was that everything I want is in my control. So what actions can I take to get to my goal? So I talked about doing the 10K steps a day again, continuing my journaling practice, staying consistent with my personal curriculum, setting goals and sticking to them, staying consistent with school until graduation because I am working on my second master's, posting on social media even when it's not perfect, and continuing to learn something new every day. The most informative part of this video, at least for my practice, was the question that said, what habits are holding me back from living my dream life? And when I was answering that question, all of the answers revolved around me. My self-doubt, my projection, my negativity, my comparison, my my fear of looking stupid, my fear of failure, my depression, my not taking action, not giving myself grace, all of those sorts of things. So I took that and I decided to create goals that were sort of the opposite of the negative habits. For example, um, instead of shunning myself and being mean to myself, practice more self-love. Instead of comparing myself, how about I create my own goals and my own checklist according to those goals and not comparing myself to other people? And how about I live in the moment more and create more memories? And how about I do more of what makes me happy and live life on my own terms? Those were some of the goals that I put in my 2026 goal list. And I know typically people put goals like, oh, achieve $1 million or 1 million followers or whatever it is, which I have some of those sort of goals on there too. But it was very important for me to mainly focus on how I want to feel and how my dream self feels and shows up on a day-to-day basis. So these are the goals that I put. I'm still working on this, so I left a page, or actually 2 pages blank, so that I could go in and fill that out. So that is part 1. Now, you could stop there, but me, I'm extra, so I obviously went a step further, and I watched a video by Natalie Dawson, which was titled How I Transformed Myself and Built My Dream Life. So I took notes on there. She has 7 key principles in there, and this is what really got me. I feel like the things that she talked about in that video really made me think, and I had never taken my dream life visualization or practices this far. So I'm not going to share everything that she talked about in that video, because I definitely think you all should go watch it and do the exercises for yourself. However, one of the things that were most important to me was number 3, which she titled calculation. And so she said, what is it going to cost you to get there? She's talking about what is it going to cost you to get to your dream life. So what is it going to cost you financially? It's how I decided to see it. But she also talks about sacrifice, which means that it's going to cost you mental or physical or emotional or relational, however you want to see it, things as well. Your dream life will cost you those things as well. I choose not to go that route. I chose to just see what it would cost me financially, because I feel like I've already went on the journey of like creating boundaries and setting my environment up in a way that I am going to be the most, that is going to be the most lucrative for my future self. So anyways, I went through and I went ahead and labeled all of the financial, well, all of the things that my dream life consists of, and then all of the prices. And I put a total at the bottom, and then I went in and talked about like, okay, so how do I get there? And I think that the most important part of this is that we all say that we want to like have a rich lifestyle or whatever your dream life looks like, but we don't really think about like what it's going to cost us and how exactly we're going to get there. And so for me, I don't think I'd ever really realized that like the dream life that I want is actually going to cost a lot. Again, we're talking about financially. Of course, it's going to cost a lot in other ways as well, but for the purpose of this, we're just talking financially. And I really set out and said, okay, it's going to cost X amount of dollars. That is going to require a lot of income to meet that demand. So that required me to look at what my career and income streams need to be in a different way, and sort of work backwards, instead of being like, oh, okay, I want to be a life coach that makes $50,000 a year, for example. And then, okay, what can $50,000 a year buy me? I decided to, again, like I said, work backwards and say, my ultimate goal is to have all of these things, so my income needs to be XYZ. And this was so much more helpful for me, because now when I'm going into my everyday journal, which is my cloth and paper Forma journal, now I have the exact intentions that I need to be using on a day-to-day basis. And so this is my cloth and paper journal. Like I said, I have the Forma one, and I just bought a dashboard to go at the front to just personalize it a bit. And like I said, I already have been starting to go through this journal and use it on a daily basis and really set my goals and intentions. But now that I've done this exercise, I can do it in a lot more detailed way. Interestingly enough, I had already pre-written like a little saying or affirmation to myself for tomorrow, which is Saturday, that says access to my energy is a privilege. And that really matches everything that I learned about today. And so I'm going to start using these schedules. Well, I've already been using them for about a week now, but I'm going to start using these schedules. And in the priorities, now I have more specific priorities for the day and more specific tasks that I need to be setting up for the day now that I have actual goals. Because before, I wasn't so clear on what my task or my priorities should be. I was just writing whatever I wanted to do that day, which is cool, but like I said, I want to be more intentional in 2026, especially with a new quarter coming up. And so one other thing that I do just want to show you is that I choose to set up my journal, although she has like it set by task and notes, which I took out that part because I just use my journal differently. I write notes from videos. I'm always researching different stuff, so all of my journals consist of notes from some sort of video. But then in here, I also did a life audit, and so this was sort of like step 1A of doing a life audit of my current life, what's working, what's not, and then creating a wheel of my dream life and what that looks like, and then going from there. So yeah, that's kind of how you become the CEO of your life. I really think it starts with seeing, like I said, seeing where your current life is. Like I use the Wheel of Life to do my life audit. You can do it however you choose to. And then from there, my next step was writing out what I wanted my dream life to look like, which I did here, as I mentioned. And then from there, I was able to create specific goals, and now I can actually create actionable goals. So what that looks like for me, that is the part I wanted to show you all. What that looks like for me is, sorry, I have so many journals, is going into my dream life. This is my traveler's journal. It says Ray's Dream Life on it, but I have a notebook that came with it where I put all my life bingo. And so in here I have a monthly bingo where I just write a bunch of my goals. So this is April's one. Just write a bunch of goals that I'm working on, and then as I check them out, I'm giving myself a reward. This is a great way to develop consistency and trust within yourself, but also to make sure that you're achieving your goals and you're not just waiting until December 31st to assess them. I do this on a monthly basis. So I did really good in January. I checked off more boxes than not. February, not so much. I kind of fell off. And then March, we're doing okay. But this is really just to maintain consistency and, like I said, be the CEO of my own life. So the biggest takeaway I would say is creating an ecosystem that works for you. For me, I have my traveler's journal, which has that life bingo in there, as well as this notebook from Ali Reyes Journals, where I keep track of the books I read and any certifications that I'm currently working on. And then I have this as like my research or higher self journal, whatever you want to call it. And then this is my Maduri journal, which is my March commonplace journal. Every month I will be buying another one of these and keeping stuff in here. So for this month, it just has March daily pages, one of the books that I'm reading, my sessions for my clients, and then another book that I'm reading. And so I'm just going in here and writing. But I'm also, let's see, I also took notes today in like the actual commonplace format on something that I was interested in. And yeah, so really just whatever works for you. For me, I'm definitely an analog type person. So writing things down works a lot better for me than keeping them online. And I think the biggest thing is creating check-ins with yourself. So something that I implemented, or am starting to implement using my cloth and paper journal, is that I'm going to do weekly dates with myself to check in about how I am coming along as my future self. As a matter of fact, that was essentially the intention of tonight's journaling session and video, is really just to create goals for my dream self, check in about how I was doing on the previous goals that I had, and really just be accountable for the things that I'm saying that I'm wanting. And so aside from a weekly check-in on Fridays, I'm also having a monthly check-in on Tuesdays at the end of every month, where I'm going to take myself on a date, and that's where we're going to have like our actual business meeting. So think of like weekly business meetings with like the CEO and another person, but then the monthly business meetings is meeting with my whole team, which is of course just me. But I have a team of myself, which consists of the CEO, the architect, and the author. And I can go into that in depth on that in another video. But if you all are interested in hearing more about how to become your dream self and create the life of your dreams, feel free to reach out to me in the comments. This is also a lot of the work that I do within my coaching brand, Black Girl Becoming. So if you all are interested, we have an Instagram page at Black Girl GURL Becoming, where you can reach out for a consultation, a free coaching session, or obviously you can follow along on here, and I'll be happy to help you. So thank you all for watching. If you have made it in to the end of the video, I really appreciate you, and I look forward to seeing you in my next one. Bye.